All right, everyone, we might as well get started. Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Gunn. I'm the coordinator of digital scholarship here at Catholic University of America Libraries. I am here with Michaela Champion, who is our GLP rep and will be one of our GLPs in the library, and she'll be co-hosting today. So welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to look at basic text analysis using AntConc. This is a really great open source software program that's improving all the time. So it's definitely worth, if you're interested in doing any sort of text analysis, whatever, it's good to have it in your repertoire. So let's get right to it. So, yep, it is desktop. You can download it and put it on your desktop. Is open access, so doesn't cost you anything. It's designed for a corporate search and it's a corporate search and concordance software. Let me get that straight out right away. So it has a number of different functions that you can use, from building concordances, collocation searching, word frequency, keyword searching, n-grams, and you can even put in regular expressions. So if you know quite a bit about regular expressions, you can really work your corpus right down to the nitty-gritty detail. There are some statistical options that you have. If you have a background in statistics, you can also use that in software today. I'm just going to touch on some of the basics today. So won't take a deep dive in. Like I said, it's just a basic overview of the software today that I'll provide today. So many different corpora that you can use. I prefer going with this antiquated one. It's the Brown Corpus in American English. Came out in '61. It consists of about 1 million words in American English. And there's about 15 different text categories that make up a good standard reference, so a good cross-section of the language. So I sort of like to use that. It's kind of small by today's standards, but that's okay. We're not here to reinvent the wheel in that sense. It is still useful in terms of searching for material, so we'll use that today. I just want to point out to you a couple of different places. Like I said, there's a ton of corpora out there. A couple good places that you can get started are with englishcorpora.org and as well as corpusdata.org. They have a lot of huge corpora listed there. Some of them are freebies. Others you do have to get a subscription to use them. But definitely a good place to start moving forward. All right. All right, so what we're going to do here, I sent you some files yesterday, just listed here. I'm going to put that in the chat. Let's see if this works. There you go. For those of you who haven't seen that time, there's the files that I'm going to be using. Most of the files I'll be using today, just for analysis. I should mention also, let's see. Oh, yes. I should mention here the Brown plain files are, we have two folders here. One is untagged, and that's what we're going to be using. And the other one is tagged, which means there's parts of speech tagging involved with that. So that's been marked up. If you're interested in doing corpus annotation, I recommend checking out a website called Claws. That's CLAWS, and it is a automated corpora tagger. They do have a freebie version, and they also have a subscription version. So if you're really, really interested in getting into the nitty-gritty of corpus linguistics, I highly recommend Claws. All right, so at this point, I'm assuming you've all downloaded and installed AntConc on your computer. I'm gonna put this right up here. There you go. So I've installed it. I've opened it up, and we are ready to get to work. Okay, so looking at this basic picture here, you can see a lot of different things listed here from the keyword searching. You can do a plot, um, uh, demonstrate a plot where words are used within the different files within the corpora. You have a particular file view. You can do cluster searching, n-gram searching, collocate, word, keyword, and a whole bunch of other things listed there.
Hey, Kevin, it didn't go to the AntConc screen. It's actually still showing your Google Drive.
No kidding. Oh, of course. My apologies. Thank you. All right. New share. There we go. So here you have the big empty screen, and let me just show you what I was just talking about here. So we have a number of the tools are listed across the top here. So keyword and context, plot, file view, cluster, n-gram, collocation, word, keyword, all these different things that you can use. And I'm gonna demonstrate how to use them as we go through. So if you're looking at keyword, you have all these down here, search query, words, you can do a case thing, you regex, and you can look at context size, a minimum of 10 tokens or more, that sort of thing. If you look at something like plot, you'll notice that these can change over here. So you have a plot zoom and different colors. And down here you have file location. So you can, as you change, you get, as you select each tool, it shows you different options that you have. So that's a good thing to do. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to load our text here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to open file as quick corpus. This is going to take me to my file set here. So I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to look for my AntConc workshop, and I'm going to select my brown plane and my brown tag. So here are a bunch of files listed here. And I'm going to do Control A for selecting all. And it's going to run for just a bit. Of course, the larger your corpora is, the longer it'll take to run. So just something to keep in mind. And what you get is a little pop-up here with a nice little sound. It says temporary corpus temp DB has been created. The corpus can be saved via the corpus manager, and we'll get into that in a minute. So I'll click on that, and you'll notice right away, right on the side here, we've got the temp file. We have 15 files, and the tokens in here a little over a million words. So just to give you a sense of what we've got there. So this is the brown corpus. So what we can do here is what we have is we've got words selected here, but we don't really need anything. We're not going to type anything in here right now. What we can do is click on start. Oh, pardon me. What we'll need to do is type in a word. I'm going to type in word process. I love showing this because I invariably make little mistakes working through this software because what you input, you can input words or not depending on what the tool is. So it's something to keep in mind when you're using a particular tool. Conversely, you may be searching something where you've typed in a word in a previous search or previous tool, and that word still lingers in your search box, and you end up getting 0 hits, and you go, why is that happening? It doesn't make sense. So it's important to keep track of what it is that you are searching and what you've typed in and what settings that you use as you go through working on the different tools. So I give that to you as a large caveat, which I just demonstrated here. So I'm going to use the word process here, and I'm going to use select all words. And I'm going to do start. All right, so there we go. All right, so let's take a walk through the page here. So we have keyword in context. We have all the different files, and you can tell Brown J, Brown D, all that, anything that has the word process in it. You immediately notice we have 197 hits listed here, so that's pretty good. And you look at the hit list here, and it goes process all the way down. And what you'll notice, it shows you keyword and context, words before that and words after that. And you'll notice that the letters here are colored, and you can determine what they are by looking down here under sort to right. You have one word to the right, so that's the word of. Two words, that's whatever comes after that, and then three words going past that, if that's what you're looking at. So you get a sense of that context that's happening. Now, if you want to change it slightly, you can go sort to left and redo the search. And there you go. You can emphasize looking at that. So it's a nice little option here of looking at the text. You can also, I'm going to go back to right. You can also order by frequency or by value. Let's do by value and see what we get. There you go. So slightly different ways of how it is presented. I'm going to go back to frequency. There we go. So you have different ways of looking at the particular words. If you want to scroll through, you can do the number of hits listed on the page. So if you only want to do 10, you can get a really quick overview of that. If you want to do more than that, you can do 100 here, and you can just scroll through and look at that. You're interested in that. If you go down here, these are looking at all the words that have a minimum of 10 tokens represented, files that have that. So that's another good way you can limit your search. Let's see. So you get a sense of how a word is used, and you can sort of look at some preliminary patterns moving forward. So what happens after the word process? And as you scroll through, you can see, you sort of get a little sense of what is in the different text files moving forward. I should mention for the longest time that the AntConc only loaded text files, TXT files, and that was it. So it's kind of limited in that way. About a little over a year ago, they've expanded out. You can use text files, you can use Word documents, you can use PDFs, HTML, ASCII, apparently, all these different ones. So they really expanded the repertoire and kind of types of files that you can use, and you can also mix and match. So for today, I'm just going to use TXT files to demonstrate. All right, so what we do, we loaded up a file, what we had on our desktop, but there are other ways that one can load corpora. So here we have, I went under Corpus Manager under File, and now we get a lot of interesting possibilities that are loaded up here. So first thing we have is Corpus Database. So AntConc is great because it comes with some two main Corpora 1 is AM English from, I think, 2006. And this is a whole list of material. Let me just do this. This is default. So you can go in here and you can take a look at a whole bunch of different files in that that you can use just to test out how your searching is going in that. So a nice cross section of different topics in that. The Brown corpus is similar to that, it's just older, and it has a lot of this material here as well too. So there you go. You have something built in already that you can use. There's also the British English list here. So you can select all or select some. That's okay. So I'm going to just close that one there and there. You can also, if you're interested in listing these, you can click on this one here. You'll notice this one is the whole set, everything included. You'll notice down here that you can connect to the online and then update it. So I'm going to click on that. So it'll be updated from the internet. So go ahead. You want to do that. So not too many changes because it came up real quick. When I first loaded this, it took a little bit of time, about a minute to upload. So that's fine there. So you have connections there. Let's go back here. You'll notice here a demo database that they have listed here. And what they have is one file, and is actually Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. So you have one particular text that you can use if you want to. So you can use a huge corpora, a complete corpora, part of a corpora, or just one file, or one, in this case, a novel, and search that way. So if I want that, I can choose that. So I chose that, and I went to return to main menu. And it did not load up. So sometimes that happens. So there you go. If I go to return to same menu, there you go. So you don't have to choose the choose option. You can just do return main menu, and you'll have this demo listed right here. One file, it's got 27,000 words in it. So we can do a quick search here. I'm just going to look for Alice. And you'll see that where Alice appears in that particular text. So if you just want to search one novel, for example, this is one way that you can do it, very straightforward. All right, so let's go back. And we're going to go to Open Corpus Manager. Now, one of the things I did was I uploaded the Brown corpus. You saw me do that from my desktop. You can do that from here as well under raw files. So, and you can list corpora there. I'm not going to do that because down here under user list, I already have what I loaded up. So in this case, I got the Brown corpus. And it tells me on the left-hand side here what it is. Right here, and it pops up. And then you'll notice on here, my target corpus is all this, and it tells you the files and the token types and all that sort of thing. So it tells you what it is. And what we can do is we can return to the main menu, and there it is. So that's a second way that you can load files from your computer, and they will appear in corpus manager listed under here. So that is a good way to keep track. And even if you close AntConc, it'll still be here when you get back. So very nice feature. All right, so let's see, I've already demonstrated how to do online here. I should mention the colors. You'll notice that some of the colors are changing here. So let's talk about that. Dark green means it's loaded and ready to go. The blue means it is a target corpus, so it's listed right here. If I want to do a reference corpus, I can click on this like that, and I'm going to do, oh, let's do this one. And this one gives a dark blue, and I'll mention reference to. So that's a good way that you can keep track of these things. Now I double clicked on the little dot here, and it says the red comes up. You know, always stop when you see red, right? So the corpus is marked for deletion. So I don't want to delete that. And in order for me to delete that, it's still up here. I would have to go down here and select the choose button. So I'm not going to do that. I just wanted to point that out to you. So you have different options. Okay. So we now have the brown corpus. So if I go to raw files here, so that's the corpus database here. If I go to raw files, I can go in and I can add files. I can add a directory, so a folder, that sort of thing. So I'm tagged, let's see. So it says that, select folder, and there you go. And there's my folder again. You'll notice down here, there are newer features, different ways that you can process this material. We're working in UTF-8. If you go to other, you have a lot more options here, a lot more languages and that sort of thing. I'm not going to do any of that. I just wanted to point out to you what you can do. I went on token definition here, and as you can see, it goes off the deep end in terms of all the wonderful things that one can do here. So this is probably a follow-up class, if nothing else. So I'm just going to close that, quietly walk away. Metadata tables listed here if you want to apply tables to this. All right, and let's see, what was the last one here? Oh, headword lemma grouping sessions. I gave a lemma list to you guys in the folder, so if you want to use that, you can. I'm not going to demonstrate it today, but you can use that to use a lemma list and run it against a particular a reference corpus if you like. So like I said, there's a lot of different things that you can do here. All right. So that is the raw files. And I mentioned you can do, I added these here, but you can drag and drop text files, Word files, PDFs, HTML, ASCII, and you can mix and match. So the software has become quite robust, and I really like it. You can see by the sophistication, a lot of things that are happening here. So, okay, the third thing I want to show you is a word list option here. So you can do, you can load up a simple word list and then compare it to a reference or target corpus listed here. So I can add a file. Let's see what I can do here. So I have a word list demo here. The interesting thing about this is that you can load table files. So tab separated values, comma separated values, you can put that in here too. So I'm going to do that for open. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, and I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to call this brown I'll call it my test word list, and then I can just create it. The corpus has been created. Tells you right here where it is, how it's been set up. If you go to the corpus database, it will tell you that there it is right here. It's as a reference. And you say, what does that mean? Well, it's over here as a reference corpus. So if that's what you want, then that's what you will get. So if we want to do that as a reference corpus, we can. And what we can do, create a word list. So what we're going to do is we want to do this as a target. So I'm going to select this as a target corpus, and I'm going to double click on this. And now it creates as a target. And you'll notice it's loaded up right here. And another thing to notice, if you're doing it right, you'll notice that word and keyword up here are highlighted and nothing else. So if we were to run this, what would we get? There you go. So I created this just out very quickly. So I just put in these different words, and I just made up some frequency things just to get a sense. So here it is, our little typical word list. Obviously, word lists can be hundreds, if not thousands, of words listed here. I just wanted to demonstrate this. So there it is. You can take a look at it. Let's see. Now, okay, let's see. So word lists are used with a reference corpus. So I tried to do a keyword search here, right? And it says, hey man, no reference corpus has been loaded. So you got to choose one from the corpus manager. And I said, okay, fine. So I go back to the corpus manager. I already have, this is my target. So what do I want to search here for? I can do my reference here. What am I going to do? The brown corpus. It's a pretty large one. My corpus. Let's do that. Okay, maybe not. I'm going to use brown corpus. Go back to that. So I got 15 files. It's huge. It's listed. And I'm going to go to return to main file. And you'll notice up here, two boxes have opened up. One is the target corpus and one is the reference corpus. So last time I did this, it crashed. The software crashed, and I don't know why. So I think it may be the file that I'm using is it may be too small or something. I'm not sure. I thought I'd just, full disclosure, let you know that I'm not going to show you how to do that, other than at this point you would click on start and go from there. If you also, let's see, you can also go back here and you can swap the reference and target reference corpora as well here. So something to consider moving forward. Troubleshooting the software, I don't know why I would do it. Maybe I have to use a different word list, but just to give you an example. So all right. So what now we're going to do is go to keyword. So I am going to go to file, and I'm going to give you a good quick tip here. If you want to start from scratch, and I'm going to be starting from scratch on a number of occasions here, you can go to clear all tools and files. I highly recommend that. It should reset everything that you've selected. And I can assure you that is a very good thing, because you may get really weird results, inaccurate, incorrect results from your searching. So it's good, to start from scratch. So I'm going to go to Open Corpus Manager, and I'm going to use, let's see, I'm just going to use a target. Right, there we go. My brown. And there we go. We have it listed on the left-hand side here. I'm going to use the word process again. Down here. Oh. So it's asking for a reference corpus. And I don't need to use one. So if I do this and I do this. Interesting. So it is showing me that it still wants to do a reference. It still wants to have a target corpus moving through there. So I'm not too sure why it is doing that. So what I like to do is if you do have run into problems like that, and you're not too sure why it is doing what it's doing, I just shut it down and reboot. And we'll just start all over again. So I can do Open Corpus Manager. And here we are listed again. And I will do Brown. There we are. Now let's see. Voila. Like I said, it's not perfect software. I found a little couple kinks in it, but it's still very useful in searching. So, all right. So let us take a look at this. I've done a very quick view of these particular things, and I'm going to speed up the process here. What you can do, I'm going to show you regular expressions. You can click on regular expressions here. You can do word search. You can do a case search if you just want to look for capital P for process, for example. I'm going to do a regex search here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for, so you'll do a very basic search. I'm going to look for letter B, question mark, and G. So this will look for big, bag, that sort of thing. And I'm going to make sure I have regex selected. Looks like it's doing nothing, but it is actually doing something. So it's going through the entire 1 million plus words and pulling what it can out. Hopefully it won't take too long. There we go. So you'll notice the results right away. You have being here. Not too sure why feeling is here, but you get a sense of what you can search. If I were to go back and do basic letter search, there, asterisks. So here's a very basic search. I'm looking for all the letters from A to Z, as well as capitals, anything that comes before ED. So past tense of words, if you will. And I'm looking, and the B represents, the backward slash and B represents a word boundary. So it's going to be looking for words. So there you go. So it's looking at all the different letters and everything with ED ending listed here. If I wanted to know, well, that's very interesting. I like this first one here. I can double click on the text and you'll notice up here it changes to the file view and it will show you all the particular words that end in ED going forward. So that's a different way that you can see, use the keyword in context to go to the specific text and see if that's something that you're interested in. Let's see, I'm going to go back to keyword. You can also do something very basic like just the word characters. So if you did that, oh, get off of there. All right, and you do the same search. Oh, you'll not get it. Shoot. And typos are just part of the whole process. So you'll notice I've got this closed bracket here that should not be there. All right. And it looks like it came up the same way. So point is, this is a different sort of regular expression, and it basically gave the same results. So, I mean, there's a whole area of regular expressions that you can study and work with and practice, and that's the deep end of the pool. So I'm just demonstrating that little quick way that you can use that to apply to the text. Now, one thing I want to show you too is up here under settings. This is really excellent. You can go to global settings up here, and you've got a number of different things that you can do for colors. So if you are interested in looking at, you want to use different colors, just not the ones there that you can do, you can list these here as well. Just as an aside, you can see all the different types of files that you can load up in there. You can do corpus indicators, reference corpus indicators, that sort of thing, and change it. So you're not committed to using this particular colors. So I just thought I'd point that out to you. All right, so let's get to the plot. The plot thickens. So what you want to know, if you want to use the plot function, it tells you where the word appears in a particular text. So we've seen words with word within word, but maybe we want to see where those words appear across the spectrum of a particular file. So what we can do, go here, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to do the word process again. And we've got this listed here. Oh, I did it as regex. So again, I remind you, make sure. So there we go, process. And you can look at it's a keyword, but we're going to go to plot. You'll notice there's nothing in here. So again, we've got to do the search one more time. And there we go. So you'll notice all of a sudden we're looking at the words. We've got 197 hits for the word process, and we see how it's distributed throughout a particular file. So I may not be that interested in looking at the brown P or the brown R text because they only have a few in there, but it looks like brown J might be an interesting place to do some further research. Right, so looking down here, you can see the plot zoom. And if I were to go out on this, maybe do 2, then I can get a closer look at how it is distributed throughout the text. It will tell me the file name, the file tokens. There's a lot, the frequency, the normalized frequency. That is the number of times the word appears within 100,000 words, and then the dispersion, how it's dispersed throughout. So dispersion is very important. So it shows you how it, excuse me, the word is dispersed throughout the particular text, particular file. All right, so you can go to, let's see, we can do process. So if I were to do a search in here, we said we looked first, we are, and I'm going to use blue, and I search for blue. So there we have the words as listed. Now let's say I want to, we have as well. And I'm going to change that to a different color. Let's say I'm going to do red. There you go. So you can see the red listed here. So what you can do is you can click on overlay. You can do the search again. And I'm going to do we are. Oops. Again, change it to blue. There doesn't seem to be that much overlap there. Normally, you would get a blue listed throughout here, where we are, and we have. So let me just take a look here. All right, so if you want to change the dispersion measure in this, you can go up to the settings, and you can go under tools. And tool settings are really excellent. So you have all these different ways you can change it. So if I'm going to do a plot change, I can go right here and I can have various ways I can look at stuff. So I can look at dispersion bin size. So I have different ways, standard deviation range, that sort of thing. This will give you a lexical dispersion of various things. I can also do a normalized plot. So I'm going to deselect that. And then I'm going to do the search over again. And then you'll notice that the red for we have is showing here. And you'll notice that the file tokens and frequency and norm frequency and dispersion value has changed. So it gives you a better sense of what's the particular word where it is. There are different ways that you can sort by frequency. So listed here, frequency and that. So there's a lot of different ways you can play with the files and organizing them moving forward. So if I go back, all right, so if I wanted to save this, I can go to settings and I can change the graphic view, for example. So if I go to tool settings, I can go here to graphic view. And then I can get something like this. And you're going to have to play around with it with the results. So if I were to normalize the plots again, there we go. So now you get a sense that you can save this. So you just go to settings and you can change the graphic view, then you can save under file. And what will happen is it should save as a PNG file. Yeah, there you go. So PNG listed right there. And then you can use it to put it wherever you want. So that's a quick overview of the plot. All right, we're going to do co-locate is our next one here. I'm going to empty out all this. And I'm going to open the Corpus Manager. It's my target. There we go. So the purpose of co-locate is you can find words that are together, but you wouldn't immediately associate them as being together. So that's kind of nice. So what we can do is I'm going to just do process again. We'll notice the collocate is selected up here. So we'll let that run. And again, we're going to get a slightly different version of events. So looking at, we have the types of collocates. There's only 28. And we have the tokens 525. You can change these in different ways. Let's see. If I were to do this, so I had deselected words. We'll see what happens here. Looks like it's going to take its time. Okay, so as we're going through this, I should mention you can sort by the likelihood of this. So that's a statistical measure of essentially, it shows the closeness that the word is that's greater than chance. So that's something to keep to think about. And it's still going. So I think I will move on here. All right, there we go. So here we go. Cola types 37, 741 for that. And you'll notice the different words. If I double click on that, it takes me to the keyword. And then if I double clicked on that, it would take me to the key to the actual file view of that. So there it is. You have the frequency to the left, frequency to the right of the particular word process. So the seems to be the process more than process the blah, blah, blah. So that's the way you can take a look at that. You can see deterministic and other types of words that are used as well. So there's different ways. If you get too many results, you can go to settings. You can go to tool settings. And under collocate, you can look at threshold. So you p value of less than 0.05, which is standard, but you can also change that. You can use these different versions, and it will give you fewer results, but more accurate results, I guess, if you want. Think of it that way. All right. Mention the sort order, and then click on one of the words in the list. So that's what I did. All right. So that's a quick overview. Next one we're going to do is cluster. And I'm going to do a word search here. And here we go. So quick cluster search. So if you want to see how words put together, you can see search for the process and the word process, and it will give you sort of a cluster size. In this case, I said down here, two words. So that's why it's only showing 2 words going through here. So there's another way you can take a look at it. You can look at the frequency. So process of is quite common, then process the, then it sort of drops off after that in our file. So that's an interesting way to do it. If we were to do 3, all of a sudden you get 3 words. So it's a good way to take a look at 2-word clusters or 3 words, that sort of thing. And you can sort by range, frequency, type, and type in, that sort of thing. So if we did range, you have that listed there, and that gives you different numbers. If I select invert order, and then search from position on the right, it redoes the search. and it will eventually run. All right, so there we go. And doesn't look all that exciting, to be perfectly honest. You got a bunch of ones here, analytical processes listed here. So frequency of 3. So if we scroll, not too much here. Denied due process. Interesting. Wonder if that's a legal folder. And then that. So you see what you can do. You can play around with a lot of these features and get different results. All right, so we're now going to go to ngrams. What I'm going to do is I'm going to load the files up here, and we're going to do an ngram size of 2. And we get similar results as the cluster. Now, if I were to run this without words, what it does, it goes through the 1 million plus words, and it'll put together all the 2-word clusters, ngrams, if you will, there. So it's very interesting when you're doing this, when you're playing around with it, you'll notice NT, right? Because it's not reading the apostrophe. So that's why you get little weird things here. It ranks the most common words. So of the, together is the most common, followed by in the, to the, on the, that sort of thing. So that's a really quick way to look at stuff. You'll notice here that you can look at 500 hits if you want. So scrolling down, you get the rank, the frequency, and the range going here. So it's an interesting way. If you're looking at this, the second, you can click on the second, and it will take you keyword and context. And then if you wanted to click on one of these lines, it would take you to the file view yet again. So there you go. So you get stuff like, if I increase the ngrams to 4, I'm going to do process again. Then you get that. So there are different ways you can do that, get results. So you have something like a range. It's in one file, but it's frequency of 2. So process in which the appears twice, but in one particular file. So that can be kind of important if you have, Constitution of the United States, for example, and its frequency is like 25, but the range is 1. That tells you that is mentioned 25 times in one file. And that could be a clue to that maybe you want to concentrate on that particular file within a corpus. All right. You can change the minimum frequency here. If I were to do that. So no hits found because there were nothing greater than 2 listed there. So just to give you an idea. All right, so that is ngrams. Basic part. Now, if we want to do word search, we're going to go to word here. And we're going to do process and words. And look what we got. We got something different. We got the word process. It's ranked number 1. It's the only thing we're looking for. It's frequency of 197. It's across 14 files. So it looks like it's across all the files. Well, 14, actually, 14 of the 15. And it gives a normal frequency of that because that's the way it is, a normal. So it's very specific. So you can look at this particular way as comparing the frequency between different corpora if you're interested in that. You can also do a partial search. So I'm going to do PROC with an asterisk. And voila, you get things are starting to get a little more interesting. So you're looking at process, but others, and you're looking at the frequency. It's how they're numbered from bottom to top, from top to bottom. And then the range, the different files they appear in, the normal frequency, and then normal range as well. And you'll notice down here, you can sort by the frequency, but you can also sort by the range. Listed there, and again, a sense of that word. All right. So the last one I want to show you is the keyword. And I'm going to empty out everything here. All right. So it has nothing listed in here. So it'll tell you need to select something. So, okay, fine, we'll select something. So I'm going to go under File. And I'm going to go to Open Corpus. And I can decide what I want to search here, as I mentioned before. So if I wanted to compare two files, so I wanted to compare this one. This one's going to be my target. And I'm going to select reference here. And I'm going to do Brown corpus. So if I go down here, there you go. And I've got both of these listed here. And click on Start and see what we get. So here we are, we're comparing the two, and this is what we get with regards to the target corpus. And you'll notice frequency, target, frequency of reference, the range of the target, range of the reference, the keyness, the likelihood that's appearing, you know, something that's greater than chance. And you have the different ways that you can sort down here. And then the keyness, that being that particular how it is statistically significant in its unusual, how it is unusual in that sense. So you get a real sense of what words are popping up here. You can tell how it is being sorted, searched, and displayed. So if I wanted to look at tool settings here, I can go to keyword, and I can do all this. So I can look at show random values, show normalized values. I can do the keyness. I can do likelihood measure. So if I want to do the chi-squared, that sort of thing. If I want to do log likelihood of two terms, and then the threshold and all that. So I've got a lot of ways that I can do apply basic statistical analysis to this. So I won't show you how to do that. There you go. So that is a very quick overview. It's 1 o'clock now. So at that point, I'm just going to stop and ask, does anyone have any questions? It's a lot to digest.
Someone in the chat asked, can we convert Mark MRK files to text file and do some search like LCSH for data analysis?
Well, that's a very complicated and specific question. So I'm going to say to this, I don't know. But if I were to work on this, I would like to know what is MRK. What is that file? What is the asterisk? What do you mean by that? If you can convert it to a text file, then great. You would have to make sure that it's converted properly to a text file. That's what I would do. And then do search like Library of Congress subject headings for data analysis. You could create a fundamental word list using Library of Congress subject headings. But I'm not too sure how far you would want to go. So this is very much a cataloging question, Shirley. Thank you. Thank you for that. And that's good because you can use stuff like that. I don't know how to advise you in this regard. I'm assuming you're saying mark records and how to convert or do some search with that. So that's something you're going to have to play around with. Understand that you're going to have to put it in, a text, Word, possibly Excel. If you can put it in Excel, comma separated values. If you can do that, then you should be able to start working with these particular types of data, but you may have to do some conversion with them first. So they definitely do HTML. So if you can put something like that, could it be put in XML? That's a very good question. Something to think about. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Yeah. So does anyone else have any questions? Oh, hi, Daniel. Yes, go right ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering, is there databases of word lists that score by sentiment, let's say, or things of that nature?
Oh boy. Okay. There are word lists out there that you can use that you could load to then do sentiment analysis upon a text. I don't have any off the top of my head, but I know that they're definitely out there. And my big question to you is, you always want to use quality information. So you want to make sure that the word lists that you're using are well established. So that would require a little bit of research, and one could Google and just do good quality word lists for sentiment analysis. And I think you can find something like that. I wonder if Tapor 3 might be something worthwhile exploring. Let me see here. I'm going to go to see, I'm going to share my screen here. So this is a great website, tapor.ca. They keep adding new stuff here all the time. And I would do a quick search through here and see if there's that kind of material that's available out there. Like I said, there may be repositories out there that you can use that have word lists and that, but there's definitely something here. So if we do natural language processing, let's do sentiment analysis here. Let's see if something like that comes up. All right, so it gives us, you can do all this searching by tools. I'm not too sure here. So Stanford, okay, let's take a look at you guys. I got to figure they got to have something listed here, right? Blah, 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 sentiment analysis, predict sentiment. Users can test out with their own text and code. So there's your first one you can check out. Stanford, pretty reliable people in that sense. So I feel comfortable recommending that to you. But again, I think there's a lot of ones out there that you can use, standard ones. So thank you for that question. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So I'm going to tell you, if you have any follow-up questions, anyone, please go ahead and reach out to me. If you have friends, reach out to me. Have them reach out to me, and we can work together on this. So like I said, the tool is become much more robust, and because it's become much more valuable. So I've only touched on some of the things today. So, all right, I'm going to end it here. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.